Okay, welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're signing in from. Welcome to our event today, Follow Your Soul Calling, together with Alberto Villoldo and myself. My name is Stefan Büffel. Hello from Germany. I'm based in Cologne, and I want to welcome everyone. Just say hello in the chat box where you're signing in from today, where you're joining from. And in just a few moments, I will hand the mic over to Alberto Villoldo, who will be guiding us today through a breathwork exercise, a breathwork meditation. And he's going to speak about the hummingbird medicine later today. And we have some exciting practices coming up. One journey to the upper world we're going to take today to meet our celestial parents and to really tune into more what our soul's calling is. And later today, also, we're going to speak about our upcoming training in the online energy medicine training. So some exciting things for you ahead. And let's see where people are signing in from. Mumbai, India, San Francisco, wonderful. Brazil, Geneva, Portugal, Arizona, California. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Romania, South Africa, Oregon, Bucharest, Alabama, Canada, Seattle, Germany, hello. Wow, so many people joining us today. Wonderful. Thank you for showing up for our event today. And let's get going. I want to welcome Alberto Villoldo and hand the mic over to you, Alberto.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our open house today on shamanic energy medicine. These are very chaotic times that we're living in. Extraordinarily chaotic. All of our points of reference are gone. The old maps don't work anymore. We don't know what destination or even what destiny they're leading us to. So it's never been more important than today to follow our soul's calling. For the shamans, this is described as the journey of the hummingbird journey, to learn stillness in flight and to learn to feed only from the nectar of the flowers, not from the garbage that we're being fed by the news media or the family dramas that we happen to be stuck in or working on, but to really go for the nectar. And to begin our presentation, I'd like to invite you to join me in a breathing practice. We have one of our students who was retired from the U.S. military, and he was saying to me, we are taught this breath called box breathing. It's the 4-4-4 breath. And he was a member of a very elite special forces team. He says, when people are shooting at you, you're under a lot of stress. So you need to be able to reset your fight or flight system so that you can make clear choices. And today, there's never been a more important time than ever where we need to make very clear choices. And I said, this is an ancient shamanic breathing practice. We call it the 4-4-4 breath. Some places in the Amazon, they call it a little death breath because it teaches you to go into infinity. It's the last breath that you want to take before you return to the world of spirit. But it's amazingly valuable to bring us to that peaceful state, that hummingbird state that can hover in midair in perfect stillness, in perfect quiet, to find the perfect quiet despite everybody shooting at you or despite the chaos that may be going on in the world. Ancient shamanic breathing practice. The US Navy SEALs do it. And they think that they discovered it. Actually, it's a very, very old way that we have to make sense of the world, to be able to discern the journey that we are on in the same way that the hummingbird is able to discern their destination. They travel from Brazil to Canada, and they don't have any maps. They just know that they have to go on the quest, on the hummingbird quest, which is the journey of the hero. So we'll begin with a breathing practice. But before we do our breathing practice, I'd like to invite you to see how many times you breathe per minute. So I'm going to time us. I'm going to give us a start. And I want you to count your breaths to see how many breaths you are breathing per minute. Ready now. Just simply count your breaths, ordinary breathing, regular breathing. See how many breaths you take a minute. We're going to do this for 30 seconds and then multiply by 2. 10 more seconds. 5. And stop and multiply this by 2 and you'll see how many breaths you take per minute. For most of us, it's between 10 and 15 breaths per minute. But with this breathing practice, you're going to be breathing 2 to 3 times a minute. A very slow and gentle breath that can allow you to step into what shamans call hummingbird consciousness. The consciousness of this incredible little creature that is not even supposedly able to fly, but that can migrate from Brazil to Canada and back. The kind of breathing that will take us into the very, very deep state of relaxation so that we can enter and embark upon the hero's journey, not the victim's journey. This is the journey that the powers that be would like us to remain in, victimized, medicated, in feeling in danger, lost. With this breathing practice, you're going to notice how your instinct, that very same instinct that guides the hummingbird to the flowers, is able to guide you to respond to your soul's calling. So we're going to be inhaling to the count of 4, holding the breath to the count of 4, exhaling to the count of 4, and holding the breath empty to 4. And let's begin with a deep and gentle yogic breath. And exhale, and another one. And now let's inhale to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. 2, 3, 4. Exhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. And empty to 4. 2, 3, 4. Inhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. 2, 3, 4. Exhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. And empty to 4. 3, 4. Inhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. 2, 3, 4. Exhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. And empty to 4. 2, 3, 4. Inhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. 2, 3, 4. Exhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. And empty to 4. 2, 3, 4. Inhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold to 4. 2, 3, 4. Exhale to 4. 2, 3, 4. And empty to 4. 2, 3, 4. And deep inhalation, deep cleansing breath now. You were breathing at the rate of 2 to 3 breaths per minute. And deep breath. And notice how you were not running out of air. You had plenty of air. But today's hectic staccato life rhythm is keeping us in this panting breath switched on fire, fight or flight. And today, more than ever, with all of the crises that are happening in the world, war, economic crises, collapse of banks, global climate change, it's important that we come to that quiet inner space where we can hear that soft and faint voice of our soul. This is the voice of the divine. They say that you want to catch God on a whisper and not with a 2x4 over your head. So the hummingbird journey is one of 4 paths of the shaman's medicine wheel, beginning with the south, where you learn to shed the past the way you shed your skin. The serpent sheds her skin. Mother, sister serpent, we call on you. Teach us to shed the past the way you shed your skin. Not little by little, the way we like to do it in the West, where we get to work on our individual issues, but all at once. Today, we have to even shed our collective past, that past of human history that has been the nightmare of humanity, of violence and of war. We need to shed that collective past. And along with it, our personal history. So we're not the product of our history anymore. We're the product of our becoming. And then in the West with the jaguar, we discover jaguar medicine, the journey beyond fear and beyond death. And we learn that we can call on the spirit of the jaguar. Mother, sister jaguar, come and teach me your ways. Let me explore those dark and hidden places of my psyche, of the way that you travel through the Amazon fearlessly, because the jaguar has no enemies, it has no predators. And it comes to show us the journey beyond death and into infinity. And then we discover the journey of the hummingbird, the path of the hummingbird. I know that for some of you in Europe, you don't have hummingbirds, but stay with the metaphor for a moment. This is the medicine of the ancient Americas. And the hummingbird is the one that says yes to the call from spirit. You say yes to your calling without waiting to have the map and the clarity of where it is that I'm going. I love that story of when the Israelites left Egypt, when Moses said to the Pharaoh, we want to be free. We want to leave the bondage and the slavery that we've been living in, as many of us have been living in for much of our lives. We're ready to go on this journey into the unknown. And the Israelites left with the Egyptian armies behind them. And they came to the Red Sea. And the legends of the Kabbalists say that before the Red Seas parted, the Israelites had to be in the water up to their noses. They weren't testing the water with their feet to be sure that it was warm enough, or looking at the other shore to make sure that there was someone there with a warm towel waiting for them. They said yes, and then the waters parted. So responding to your calling doesn't mean that you necessarily know what your destination is going to be, but you know that you're going towards your destiny. And this is absolutely the key here. Now, the hummingbird journey is a journey of the hero. In the West, we have been educated to being victims. I had a very anxious call from a dear friend of mine who had just received a diagnosis. A diagnosis is a kind of black magic that the system does on people, because you get a diagnosis and then she was told, you have to go into surgery tomorrow, right away. We've got to deal with this. We got to pull it out of your body. And we are now in the grip of fear, and we become a patient. We're no longer a hero. So be careful with diagnoses, by the way. Don't accept them. Remember, you're not a disease. We're not illnesses. We are living luminous Buddhas that can have miracles happen if we believe in the miracles. So we live in a society that's trained us to be victims. And the hummingbird journey is about becoming the hero of your own story, not the victim. The shamans say that you can either have what you want or you can have the list of reasons why you can't. And many of us are taught since we were little that we were going to be okay if we just understood the list of reasons why we couldn't, and we kept working on them really, really hard. Well, working on why you can't do what you dream of doing is not going to take you to your dreams. That requires that hummingbird journey. And the hummingbirds that migrate from Brazil to Canada don't sit around saying, you know, we don't have enough wings. We were not made for flight. And there are no flowers that we can feed on until we get to Cuba. What do we? No, they embark on the journey. They say yes to the quest, to the calling, without being certain of the destination, but living deeply with the understanding that they are following their destiny. And this is the moment for us to make that kind of call, to say yes to our calling. The shamans in the Andes, where I did my training, I was originally trained as a medical anthropologist, traveling through the Amazon. And curiously, I was initially funded when I was a graduate student by big Swiss pharma. They wanted to discover the next cure for cancer, or the first cure for cancer, for dementia, and for heart disease, the things that are killing Westerners. And they funded me to go into the backwaters of the Amazon. I remember going to villages that had never seen a light-skinned person before. And the children would come running to me and they would rub my skin to see if the white dirt would rub off. And after many months in the Amazon, I came back to the people that funded me and they said, what root, what bark, what leaf, what bush did you discover that heals cancer? And I said, I didn't discover anything, because they have no cancer, no heart disease, and no dementia, no Alzheimer's, until they begin to eat like us and live like us and be disconnected from nature and from their calling and from their own inner nature. And then they begin to get sick like us and to die like us. So responding to our calling today is essential. But when I was in the Amazon, I did discover the great cure, which was actually the practice of prevention, which was energy medicine. The understanding that we have an energy field around our physical body that organizes the physical body into health or disease. And the field stores the imprints of trauma, but not only the trauma that might have happened to you in your early life, but the trauma that happened to your mother and to your grandmother or grandfather. This is epigenetics. In the Amazon, they call them generational curses that are passed down from one to the other. And when you clear the imprints from the energy field, it doesn't need to work its way through the body as disease. This is hummingbird medicine, work at the very subtlest of levels. But the hummingbird embarks on a sacred journey. And one of the tales that I heard around the campfire one time, and remember at night in the Amazon, there were no iPads and there were no digital devices you could entertain yourself with, so there was storytelling. And one of the medicine women said, you know, Alberto, before we were born, we were all gathered in a great green field, grassy field. All of us were gathered there. And a very big angel came out and said, you know, this is going to be a very challenging time for the earth, for humanity. We need healers. There's going to be war and famine and chaos and collapse and confusion. We need shamans. Who wants to come? And each and every one of us volunteered. We wanted to be part of the great transformation that in the Andes they call the Pachacuti, the end of time, the end of one era and the beginning of a new one. We came here with that mission. We said yes to that mission. And coming back to that great mission at this time of tremendous chaos and fear in the world is part of what we came here to do, is saying yes to your soul's calling. Now, we don't quite understand what our role is in that great mission, in that sacred task that we took on before we were born. A friend of mine asked me the other day, Alberto, what are you working on these days? Are you working on a new book? And I said, no, I'm working on creating peace in the Middle East. How are you doing that? He said, well, I'm going into that stillness practice of hummingbird, of hovering even in the midst of flight, of deep stillness, and creating a standing wave of peace. And I know that that informs the quantum field to increase the probability of peace happening in Europe and in the Middle East. So today is a time for us to say yes to that hummingbird call, to that hero's journey. We have worked enough on what's wrong, and we have to continue it. It's a lifelong journey. My wife reminds me of this periodically. We need to continue on improving ourselves. But today the work is about going directly to the nectar, to the flowers, so that we can share that nectar with humanity and with the planet, with all creatures in the earth, to create that new era that we came here to facilitate. This is the hero's journey. It's a heroic journey, because everybody's saying to us, well, stay home. What are you going to do if the banks collapse? And if the Swiss don't bail the other banks out? And if the government, no, we are creating a standing wave of peace by becoming peace, of healing by becoming healing, and by being healed, and by upgrading the quality of the information in our luminous energy field. The shamans do this by downloading version 2.0 of the codes for being human. The codes for human 2.0. Wow. Because part of what we're here to do is to take a quantum leap and become that new human that we've been waiting for. The shamans in the Amazon and the Andes call this new human Homo luminous. Not Homo sapiens anymore, not thinking humans, but luminous humans, enlightened humans. Enlightened humans that can live in an enlightened fashion and can bring light and beauty to the great darkness that's happening in the planet today. This is the hummingbird journey. It's the journey to who you came here to be, to your greatest possibilities. And in doing so, you established a standing wave in the field that will allow all of humanity to take that leap also. And once you take that leap, that hummingbird journey, you embark upon it, you'll find that you will begin to grow a new body. Biologically, I'm not just talking about a leap in consciousness, but a biological leap where we will become that new species, where we will activate higher order neural networks in our highest brain, in our hummingbird brain, and the brain that understands quantum physics and beautiful music, and that can understand the experience of oneness, that we are interconnected with all of life. Once we activate these higher order neural networks, then we find that we can get our health span to equal our lifespan, that we can live long and die quick. This is a great formula. Instead of living long and dying slowly from illness and medicated, like so many people are dying today, and living a life that is infused with the sacred and with meaning. This is the sacred journey. But it requires leaving the slavery, leaving Egypt, the Egypt that we've all been trapped in, the metaphorical Egypt, the biblical Egypt, where we have been enslaved to a set of values and beliefs that have nearly destroyed all life in this planet. We have to embark on the sacred journey. The ancient Kabbalists say that when the Israelites left Egypt, that only 40% of them left. Moses had to say to them, look, guys, it's only going to be 40 days in the desert. Don't worry. It turned out to be 40 years. But 60% of them said, well, we're too old. We're too fat. We don't have enough money. What are we going to do? Being a slave, it's no fun, but we get a couple of weeks off a year. And only that small percentage left. And then they had to go into the depths of the waters, up to their nose. We're already there globally as a humanity. The water's right up here. And then the seas part. And then the miracles happen. And then we align ourselves with the miraculous and no longer with the ordinary. Today we have this invitation in front of all of us to become that new human, that homo luminous, that is going to heal and age and die differently. And I'd like to share just very briefly an amazing experiment that's taking place in life, in the earth today, not the world, because the world is distinctly human, but in the planet. About 200,000 years ago, an evolutionary quantum leap occurred in which we lost 2 chromosomes. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 from mom, 23 from dad. That's 46. But at a certain point, we separated from the apes. They have 48. They have 24 and 24. And one of our chromosomes, number 2, became very, very big. And we can tell that this happened because at the very tip of your chromosomes, you have these structures that prevent the chromosome from shredding and flailing, so that we can continue to copy accurately. And these structures now are in the middle of the chromosome and not only at the end. So there are 4 of them instead of just 2 of them at the end. And so with chromosome number 2 becoming this very big chromosome, it allowed for the development of a higher brain and of consciousness. And the amazing thing is that this higher brain is programmed for infinity. This higher brain is programmed for longevity because we don't have a death program in our DNA. Humans don't have a death program. Every other creature in nature, except for whales and dolphins like us, don't have a death program. We are programmed for infinity, for very long lives and long health, if we choose to begin to create psychosomatic health by activating these higher brain regions. And this is basically the neuroscience of what's happening today as part of a great biological experiment that you and I are part of. And if we want to take part in this experiment, I call it the experiment of n is equal to 1. N, when you do a medical study or a scientific study, is the number of people in your study. And you want to have a lot of people in it so that it's relevant. But today we're doing the experiment of n is equal to 1. My experiment is called Alberto, and your experiment is called you. And the amazing thing is that if you don't take part in the experiment, in growing that new body and becoming that new human and saying yes to your calling, if you don't take part in the experiment, you get to be in the control group. And the control group is that big fat bell curve of how people are getting sick today with dementia, with Alzheimer's, with Parkinson's, with heart disease, and with cancer. So I invite you to take part in that experiment of that new human, to say yes to your calling. This is what we came here to do, to dream together a new world into being, a new world that our children's children can be born into. I invite you to take that leap, to say yes, to go on that great journey, even though you may not know exactly what the destination is, but to know that it is your destiny. Say yes, the time is today. And the wisdom of the ancient ones, of the shamans, of the earth peoples, is available to us today. This is what I train my students to do. This is what our courses are about. They're about bringing together cutting edge brain science and the ancient wisdom of working with the energy field of the body so that we can become that new human and we can help our loved ones to take that leap to health and to longevity themselves. So, Stefan, I'm going to pass it back to you. Maybe if there are any questions or comments that we may want to take on at this moment.
Thank you, Alberto. Yeah, there's a couple of questions. So let me just screen them and let's start with the first one right here. Okay. So Tanya, she asks, I clearly feel that my soul is calling for something, but I cannot grasp it, understand it. Is there a way, a journey to understand what is my calling? What is my soul's calling for?
Thank you for asking that question. Really important question. Frequently, we want to get a sense of what our calling is before we embark upon it, but it doesn't work that way. You've got to embark upon it first, and then it's revealed to you. Because today we need a new story for humanity. We need a new map for the human journey. So today it requires that we say yes. And at that point, then it begins to be revealed to you. And it is absolutely exquisite. So that's the critical point. We cannot wait until we're shown the map because it'll be too late. The time is now. And the minute you say yes and you take the first steps into the unknown, you join the hero's journey. And everybody else will begin to ask you, why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? Why can't you be normal, get sick and die like normal people do? That's not normal any longer. Thank you. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Alberto. So next question, Nicoletta asks, how do I know if I'm ready to live the shamanic journey? Should somebody call us or something? How can we make sure that we are ready for this? Can disease be a sign?
Yeah, I know in my own journey, I kept saying to Spirit, I don't have enough time. I have 2 little children. I don't have enough money. And I was using my children as an excuse to God. And then I realized what I was doing, and I said, okay, I know that I don't have enough time, enough money, enough resources, 2 little kids. And the minute I said yes, my life acquired a direction and an abundance that I always had to struggle with before.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alberto. And the question we usually always get is, can anyone learn this? Can anyone become a modern day shaman?
I always like to ask the question, can anyone get healthy? Can anyone reach their fullest potential? And the question is that this is not for everyone. This is for a person that's willing to line their lives up behind their values and behind the sacredness of their journey. But today, so many of us feel so disempowered and so terrified. 10 years ago, almost to the day, I had a very bad diagnosis because as a medical anthropologist, I had traveled the jungles of the world. And I went to my doctors and they said, you better get in line for a liver transplant because your liver's dead. You have holes in your heart and parasites in your brain. And I said, oh my God, I better check into a hospital and wait for a liver transplant. But then I said, no, wait a minute. This is I'm not going to go that route because that's the victim route. And I become a patient. I instead went to the Amazon. I took Western medication. I was lucky to be friends and working with some of the leading doctors in the world that with whom I work with energy medicine. So they guided me through the process of killing these parasites, which Western medicine is really good at killing things. But then I had to grow a new body and I had to regenerate my body. And I have a new liver today and a new heart and a brain that I'm enjoying quite a bit. So but it took defying my own fear and facing up to it and saying, no, I'm not going to continue the path of the victim. Even though I will use the resources of Western medicine, I don't want to become a patient. So I took the sacred route, and I'm in great health today.
Thank you, Alberto. Maybe a follow-up question that a couple of people asked, Jamila and Rose, for instance. How do we release the programs of fear, of sadness, of depression in our bodies?
Okay, let's take on the one for fear. So we have a fight or flight system in the body, and we don't know how to reset it in the West because this system is a feed forward system. So if you experience early life trauma like many of us did, or if your mother experienced trauma, remember that these chemicals, the stress chemicals, go through the placental barrier. It could be that it's not your drama or trauma, but still it's embedded in your field and your body. The body keeps score and in the neural networks in your brain. So the first thing we learn to do in our shamanic energy medicine training is reset the fear program, reset the fight or flight, so that fear can become a warning system and not a state of being. Absolutely the beginning. Thank you for asking that question. Very important. And that the shamans discovered how to do this 5,000 years ago by resetting the balance, the energetic balance in the body. And then fight or flight would reset and your world would become safe again.
Thank you, Alberto. Maybe one more question. Mendy is asking, are ancient shamans different then than those of us who are doing the energy experiment now? Are we a continuation of the lineage?
Well, if you are in this call, it's because you've sat around the fire in a former lifetime, maybe with a buffalo behind you, or maybe meditating in a stone temple above the snow line and doing the medicine work. And now it's time to return to that. But we don't need to rediscover all the ancient wisdom on our own. We have an ancient body of wisdom that's been offered to us by the high shamans that are the stewards of this wisdom. It doesn't belong to them. They've been the keepers of the wisdom, and they're so ready to pass it on to us so that we can help to heal the earth and to heal ourselves. So, Stefan, back to you. And what's next in our program?
And now students will have the opportunity to go on a journey to the upper world.
Great. This is a shamanic journey you're going to be going on to kind of get acquainted with that mission that you took on for yourself, that journey, that sacred contract that you entered into with spirit before you were born. And thank you for joining us today. And I wish you a sweet, sweet journey in this next part of the program and in your life.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone. So thank you for all your great questions. And there were many more, and I might be able to cover some more of them later today after you go on the journey. So now it's the time to get comfortable. If you need to take a deep breath. And in the journey that you will be watching now, Alberto is going to speak a little bit more about the shamanic path, and then we'll guide you in a journey. He will be drumming in that journey. So if you need to make sure you have a comfortable space, either you're sitting in your chair, you can also lay down, but make sure to set your intention not to fall asleep, which sometimes this can happen. So do whatever you need to do now to get prepared, and we will preparing the journey for you. And yeah, let's get started.
Who will you be 10,000 years from now? This has always been the great fascination of the shamans, not because they're so interested in who they're going to become in 10,000 years, but because they want to know what the possibilities are, the human potentials that we can develop in the next 10,000 years. They want to visit the future. They want to future track, discover who we are becoming, and embody that and bring it back to their people, to their village, to their tribe in the present. And in doing this, they are helping to select one of the myriad pathways that evolution can take. We're participating in conscious evolution. I want to guide you on a journey today where you can explore what your possibilities are 10,000 years from today. So you can embody them today, bring them into your life, bring it into your health, into your body, into your relationships, and into the vision and the mission that you have for yourself today in the world. Remember that evolution happens very rapidly during times of great crisis. And we're in one of these crises today. We're facing possible extinction, there's climate change, there's the toxic waste that are discharged into our rivers, into our oceans, the pollution of the air. We're facing great challenges that are making us sick. What the shamans have always done has been to visit destiny, chart the possibilities that are available to them, and choose the highest possible destiny for themselves, their loved ones, and their villages. I want to invite you to join me in this journey today. I'm going to lead you to the world tree that we have visited before, along a meadow, to see the world tree at the distance, to approach it, to enter its trunk, and to allow the waters that are coming from the deep roots to carry you up towards the highest branches. And when you're at the very, very tip of the highest branches, to step out above the clouds into the cosmos, the vastness of space. And there you will be met by your celestial parents. Now, these are not your biological parents. That was a different story. That was the best available for you to be born into at that time. These are your heavenly parents that have guarded and looked after you since the beginning of time. They're luminous beings who are charged with your guidance and with your growth and with supporting you in your journey through infinity. These beings will come and meet you, and they will take you into the fifth sun, into the fifth world of our becoming. The shamans of the Americas called it the fifth sun because it was the fifth cycle, the great cycle of renewal of the sun. But it's really the fifth era of human history here in this planet. And let me review this from a perspective of science, what this fifth sun is about. There have been 4 previous extinction events in the history of life on the earth. And we are in the middle of the 5th. We see that species are disappearing. I remember driving at the end of summer, and I would have to stop every half an hour to clean the windshield, from all the bugs that were squashed on the windshield. And today, you don't do that anymore. There are no bugs. The little ones are disappearing. Insects are disappearing. Species are becoming extinct at an alarming rate. During these extinction events, we have the possibility of following a different evolutionary path. During ordinary times, evolution happens incrementally, little by little, following the laws of Newtonian mechanics. During times of great crisis, during extinction events, evolution begins to follow the laws of quantum mechanics, not slow, incremental, in between generations, but very accelerated, very fast within generations, so that we can take a quantum leap today very readily, supported by biology, supported by the Great Mother, by Gaia, by Pachamama, into who we are becoming, so we can become the template, so we can embody the template of the future human and make it available to humanity, because today we need a new story for humanity. We need a new story that's going to be written by you and I, that are able to future track to who we are becoming. The rest of humanity will continue in its course, getting sick the way that humanity gets sick, dying the way that our ancestors have died. But we're going to be able to inform ourselves by what the human species is capable of becoming 10,000 years from today. It doesn't mean that you're going to find out what job you're going to have, or what skin color. Are you going to be blonde or brunette or dark hair, dark skin, light skin? We're going to find out what your essence is going to be evolving into. Remember that evolution doesn't happen only at the level of biology, but at the level of the spirit. As we future track, you'll be able to meet yourself 10,000 years from today, at the very, very top of the world tree in the vastness of space. And then you'll be able to receive that, to take that self into you and have it begin to transform you and inform you cellularly, guide your biology to allow you to quantum leap at this time of tremendous opportunity in the planet. So join me in this meditation. And let's begin by taking a deep breath together. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling deeply again. And I'd like you to imagine yourself in a meadow, beautiful green meadow, the cool grass beneath your feet. And at a distance, there's the world tree. And you approach the world tree and you feel the humming of the roots. We've already journeyed down into the belly of the mother. And you look up and see the branches, how they're extending into the heavens. And you sense an invitation. You're invited to step into the trunk of the world tree. Remember, you are in your luminous form, and you step into the trunk of the wisdom tree, of the tree of knowledge. And inside the trunk, you feel the rivers of sunlight streaming down from the leaves and the high branches, and the streams of water coming up from the deep roots, going up towards the leaves and the highest branches of the world tree. And you allow one of these streams to take you up. Fine rivulet, a vein of water making its way up towards the highest branches, until you get to the very highest branch of the world tree and step out of this branch. And you're in space, in the cosmos. You see the beauty of the earth below you, and you see the vastness of space around you and above you, and our sun at the distance. And then you see two dots, 2 points of light that are moving in the sky, that are coming in your direction. 2 points of light that as they draw near, you see that they are luminous beings, radiant luminous beings with such a radiance, you can barely look at their faces. And as they stop before you, you recognize them. You see them smiling at you, and they are your celestial parents. Some people call them guardian angels. They're your guardians, your heavenly guardians that have been with you since the beginning of time. And they will continue with you because we are evolving together. It's in their interest for you to embody who you're becoming 10,000 years from today, because they also will be able to receive those gifts. And they welcome you. Welcome home, my son. Welcome home, my daughter. Welcome, my little one. It's good to see you again. And you know that they will be waiting for you for when you make that great crossing at the end of your life. But now they've come to take you through the folds of time to see who you're becoming 10,000 years from today. And they take your hand, each one holding one of your hands, and they take you through space, through time, and they stop by a waterfall. And you sit on a boulder, and this is a waterfall outside of space and time altogether. You sit on a boulder and you smell and feel the cleansing water and the spray and the beauty of this place. And you look into the waters, into the shallow pool, and you see your own reflection, and you see that you're translucent. You see your outline, your face, and you see space and sky and stars right through you. And sitting on this boulder, your heavenly parents go to the rear, to the back of the waterfall, and they bring out a luminous being who you are becoming. They're holding her hands, and they bring her to you. And she smiles, he smiles, and you recognize each other. You look into the eyes of who you're becoming 10,000 years from today, gazing deeply into your own eyes. Feeling the beauty, the power of the heart of this luminous one before you, touching your heart. Ah, such love, such love. And you ask anything that you wish to ask. Who are you? I am you, she says. We are one. We've never been separated. And you ask any questions that you have in your heart. Take this opportunity to ask anything you wish to know. You look into his eyes, into her eyes, and see your own reflection. The kindness, the gentleness, the wisdom. I am the new you, she says. I am you at your finest, he says. I know who I am. I know what my mission is in this life, in all life. And I bring that to you. I bring that wisdom and that healing. That you may become that new human. That's possible for all of humanity, but that's only available for those who dare. For those who dare to look deeply, gaze deeply into their hearts and into their soul, to heal those ancient stories that you have already outgrown. And you have chosen that. You've chosen to grow a new body that ages and heals and dies differently, that knows the secrets of longevity, that knows the deep and inner wisdom of the soul. And you hear these words and they surprise you, but they don't. For this is what you have sought always, what you have worked for always, even in the midst of the great distractions, of the great detours that life took you through and has taken you through. You've come back to your way. And that self that is you in becoming opens her arms and you open yours. And you welcome her. You take her into you, into your heart center, taking her, taking him into your heart center and feeling her energy, his energy going to every cell in your body, transforming, renewing, healing, repairing, awakening every cell in your body. The spaces in between each cell in your body, infused with the wisdom, with the light, with the medicine, the sacred medicine of you, of who you are becoming. Inhaling that in with your breath, receiving it in its totality. And when you open your eyes again, she's gone. She's now inside of you. He's gone. Only your celestial parents remain. And they smile at you, pleased, for they also have been blessed by your blessings. And they turn to you and they say, it's time to go back. Time to go back. Soon enough, we'll be together again, devoid, free of the limitations of the body. But now it's time to return, to bring back those gifts that you have received, to share them wisely and freely with others, not with words, simply by being you at your finest and most luminous. Come, little one, come. And they take you by the hand. And now suddenly you're back at the very top of the world tree. And your celestial parents bow to you, you bow back to them. Thank you so much. And you step into the uppermost branches of the world tree and begin to make your way back down through the high branches, the intersecting branches, until you get back down into the trunk of the world tree. And while you're there, take a moment to receive the blessings of the healing light of those rivers of light that come down from the leaves, the highest trees, the highest leaves in the world tree, and that are healing and renewing your physical body, your luminous body. And as you step out of the world tree, you bring with you all of the blessings that you have received in this journey. And you turn around and you bow to the world tree, thanking it. And you begin to make your way back across the meadow, feeling the soft, cool grass beneath your feet, coming back into your room, back into your body, back into the now, back into this moment, and bringing with you all of the gifts that you have received, the gifts of your becoming, the gifts of that new human that the prophecies have spoken about for so long, the ones that we've been waiting for, and you recognize that you are the one that you've been waiting for, and you're back home. All of the gifts belong to you to share freely by being, not with words, not with talk, but by simply embodying them, becoming one of the ones that we've been waiting for. Thank you for joining me in this journey, and embody this. Take it with every breath. Know that you're feeding the body of that new human that we've been waiting for so long.
to stay in the energy of this beautiful journey that Alberto guided here. Take a deep inhale. And I want to invite you, if you feel like it, share in the chat box how the journey went for you. What are the gifts that your celestial parents showed to you? What brought you back? What did you bring back? What are you invited to embody in this life today? Let me check. Let me check the chat box for a sec. Heart is full, beautiful. After integrating, my cat came and rubbed on my legs. Yeah, animals they love the energy work. Someone brought back hands of light, a new soul. Wow. Got answers. Wow. Brought back the light, speak the truth, compassion, light, and an open heart. Knowing, courage, longevity, joy. Wow. So many beautiful gifts. Communicate with hearts and wisdom only. Beautiful. I feel a bit different, to be honest. Yes. Thank you for having the courage to join this experience. Wow. Keep your sharings coming. Beautiful. Self-esteem from future self emanating in me now. Wow. Brought back peace. The wisdom of all animals. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Curiosity. Someone receives healing. Yes, that's what happens when we step outside of time and space and connect to the spiritual world. Spirit shivers. Yeah, I love that. I got a brave heart, love and light. Clarity and confirmation of my existence, luminosity. All right, wow. Yeah, keep your sharings coming. And yeah, this is what you will also be learning and experiencing more in our energy medicine training that I now would like to speak more about. But before I share about like the logistics, the structure, the dates, I want to just, do some personal sharing. For me, it was like about 10, 12 years ago that I felt my soul calling me to this path. Looking back, like it was calling for quite some time, but the voice was kind of more like a whispering voice. It wasn't the loudest voice in my head, so it took me a while to really hear that voice and to have the courage to embark on this path. Back then when I finally understood that there is a calling, that there's something that my soul wants me to experience and to embody in this life, being a modern day shaman, I was in crisis. Like I was in a health crisis, professional crisis, relationship crisis everywhere. And today I can kind of smile and have a laugh about it, but it was really a deep sadness and depressed feeling because my body wasn't in a good shape. I didn't feel any purpose in my life. Back then I was in the business world as a freelance consultant. I have a background in media and science, teaching, doing research. So the whole energy realm, the spiritual world, wasn't really part of my agenda back then. But then again, life brought me all the lessons that I needed to learn. And then I finally surrendered. I finally had the courage to just, embark on the journey. That's what the hummingbird does. As little as they are, they just follow this intuition, they follow this call. They don't think about if they will have enough money or enough shelter or enough drink or enough strength. They just, follow this calling. And as Alberto was sharing earlier today, migrate from Brazil to Canada, which is just amazing. So thank you so much for showing up here today on your path. And maybe you found some inspiration in the journey and what Alberto spoke about. And if you feel called to go deeper with this kind of work, we really would encourage you to look into our energy medicine program. The online energy medicine program that the Four Winds teaches is a 6-month training. And at the core, it's all about, going through the medicine wheel journey. And by going through the medicine wheel, it's not only healing journey for yourself, it's also your hero's journey. And while you're on that journey, we will teach you all the different practices that we can then offer to our clients, which is basically how, to track the energy field, how to reset the fight or flight response that we spoke about earlier today. You will learn about the illumination process, which is like the core and the key process that we have in our shamanic toolkit, so to say. You will learn the extraction work, really important when we step into the Jaguar medicine, doing shadow work, healing our ancestors, but also learning how to be protected and to cut energetic cords. And then when we step into the hummingbird medicine, it's all about shamanic journeying to the lower world, to the upper world, and you got an experience how that feels just a few moments ago. But you will also learn how to step out of ordinary time and to kind of journey along the timelines into the past, but also into the future. So this is amazing, amazing possibilities that open up for us. And in the east direction, when we finally come to the end of the energy medicine wheel, then we connect with the energy of eagle and condor. And that's where we learn the great death rites. This is how we can help a dying person to transition lightly and consciously into the world of spirit. So that's at the core of our training, but there's of course many more things that you will learn about. The whole science piece, there's a whole module about the neuroscience of enlightenment. There's a whole module on how to grow a new body, and Alberto shared like his personal story, how he actually did grow a new body. That's going to be covered in our training as well. So it's going to be a really rich and deep experience. Again, it's a 6-month training. The next one is just around the corner, starting April 25th. That's a Tuesday. And let me talk briefly about how you will be learning all this in an online setting, because some of you asked about how this can be done, how this can be learned in the virtual environment. So here's how we set it up. So everyone who sign up for the program will start the same day. So it's not a self-paced, self-learning kind of thing. No, we're going to be on this journey as a group, everyone on their own healing journey, but of course also at what we call an IU, our community, our tribe, our fellow students and fellow travelers on this hero's journey. So everyone will start at the same date. You will get access to an online learning environment where you get your login credentials. And this is where we open up the total of 10 modules that we have to offer in our curriculum. So every few weeks, we will open up the next module. So there's a clear structure. And then within the modules, there's the teaching videos. And in the videos, you will see Alberto, you will see Marcela Lobos, and some of the other senior teachers with the Four Winds. But you will see mostly Alberto like being the teacher in the videos. And then every week, and this is really important, there's going to be a 90-minute up to 2-hour live call with your guides, with your teachers, all senior teachers with the Four Winds that are trained by Alberto. And they will guide you in the weekly live meetings for 90 minutes up to 2 hours through the journey. And, in the live calls, what we will do, of course, questions and answers. We will sit in ceremony. We will do a fire ceremony, because this is so important. This is a path of fire, of rapid transformation. So we release whatever is blocking us into the fire. And in the online setting, we would just use a candle and a little stick. And this is so powerful and transformative. In the live calls, teachers will do live, like step-by-step demonstrations with a student, and you will also receive the rites of initiation. So there will be a nice mixture of teaching, of sitting around the circle, doing ceremony, but we will also send you into breakout rooms, like in smaller groups, where you will do an assignment. So it's quite interactive, and you will meet a lot of amazing fellow human beings. You will make friends for a lifetime. I know that I am still in touch with the people I went through the medicine wheel training back in the days. So it's more like, let's say, a family. It's really a huge community of practitioners. We support each other. And what you need to understand in order to really deeply follow the program, that you should have at least 10 to 12 hours every week to really deeply follow the program. So there will be assignments. We will give you a lot of practices that you will do by yourself at home in nature, where you kind of support your own healing by doing shamanic practices. And once we have taught you, let's say, how to do the illumination process, then it's time for you to reach out to fellow students and practice with each other. So it's really a path of going into the experience and deeply have that experience, because only then you can ask the really good questions to your teachers and really learn, grow, and find that medicine that you are supposed to share with the world. After the 6 months of guidance and the weekly live meetings, we will have completed the full curriculum, and you will keep access to the learning material. You can stay connected to your Ayu, to your community, to your tribe. And then, the journey continues. It's not that you're complete and done after the 6 months. It's actually setting up on this amazing lifelong journey where you take flight with the hummingbird, stepping outside of ordinary time and space and really embarking on your own hero's journey. So let me have a quick look at the chat box. More sharings coming in. And what we offer, if you really feel called to look more deeply into our training program, you can book a free 30-minute academic consultations with myself and my beautiful colleagues. And you can bring your personal questions, and we can kind of guide you and support you in your decision-making process. So the link where you can set up your 30-minute academic consultation will be shared in the chat box. And we can guide you, we can send you the curriculum, we can answer your personal individual questions. And again, the next training starts April 25th with weekly live meetings every Tuesday. Meetings will start at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which makes it quite accessible also to people in Europe and South Africa and other time zones. So this is your chance to really follow your soul calling to become a modern day shaman. Again, my name is Steffen Büffel. I'm also one of the academic advisors, one of the teachers, more in the German speaking programs. And for me, it really turned around my life in a really good way. Like I now embody the medicine that I'm meant to grow and be reminded of in this lifetime. And so I would be really excited. We all would be really excited to welcoming many of you in one of our upcoming trainings. Again, the next one starts April 25th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, with weekly Zoom meetings, and you can book your free academic consultation now by following the link that you found in the chat box. So thank you again for joining us today. It was wonderful to be with you. Still a lot of people with us. And the recording will be made available within the next 24 hours. So if you didn't get a chance to see the beginning, you can catch it in the replay. And for those of you who are watching the replay, we hope you had an amazing experience. And again, for everyone, feel free to book your free 30-minute academic consultation now and to take the next steps. So thank you so much for your time, for your presence. It was wonderful to be with you. Take good care with you. And we will now share a beautiful video that one of our graduates produced. She is a musician, and she's also going to share a little bit about her experience during the training. So some little gift at the very end of our meeting today. Here we go.
Blessings, everyone. My name is Lee Gray Maranan, and I'm here to share with you my journey into shamanism. And if you're watching this video, perhaps there's already a calling to explore this path. And I want to welcome you to the Four Winds. As we know, this calling is unique to each and every single one of us. But the feeling is somehow the same. And shamanism for me is really having a direct experience of the sacredness that is all around us. And my journey with the Four Winds has been one of the most profound journeys I've ever been in. Through ceremonies, through learning about rituals, and more than anything, it's receiving the rites of initiation that have really given my life such profound depth and beauty. And if you feel or hear this call, I invite you to listen in, and I'm sure that we are always where we are meant to be, perfectly, in synchronicity, when we listen to the call of our soul. Mystics calling, heaven whispering, lights are dawning, sun is coming in. Suddenly I feel like I fell upon my knees. I lift my head to look above and see clouds that are hovering, and I feel my soul calling. And here we are, ocean crossing. Shamanism is kind of like crossing that ocean. You're never truly the same from when you begin the journey. Although things in life remain the same, situations remain the same, people remain the same, but what I find is that the way I feel about things has shifted through the support of the many tools that we learn. It's a beautiful gift for each and every single one of us on the planet to go through our own profound healing and step into service. Enjoy. Stars are keeping distant memories. Winds are singing ancient melodies. Suddenly I feel like I fell upon my knees. I bow my head to look within and hear ancestors guiding, and I feel my soul calling. And here we are, ocean crossing. The sun hides from the moon again, eclipse my heart, remembering this whole time I've been running from it. But this time I'm here for it. Look up to the sky in contemplation, to the stars and the moon and constellations. Let this song be my medicine as my spirit breathes the healing, surrendering to the wave that's rising, emotion crossing. So if you hear the calling of your soul, trust in the path that is right in front of you. And if this is meant to be, see you on the journey. Blessings. Ow.